always had a mom that exposed me to a lot of different things.
I think that type of exposure helps you maneuver through all the distractions that the inner city have.
When you grow up in the inner city, it's not a distraction, it's just your reality. Eve's former stylist actually called me for a job that she couldn't do. So when I went, it was Martin Lawrence for Big Mama's house. When the movie started, it was my cousin's wedding, her weekend. So I was like, okay, nah, I can't do it.
What?
I was like, I can't do it.
You chose family?
I chose family
over
opportunity, over the bag.
Welcome to Bigger Than Goals podcast, where we talk to highly successful people about their journey and their obstacles and who they had to be to overcome them. Today we have my good friend, my homie, my big sister, the best dressed person I ever met, and I hope that offended anybody I ever met before her, Davida, Colona.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah, I'm real good.
Good. I'm glad you accepted to come on the podcast. When I originally put it together, I thought about the people I know and how can I connect them. And you was one of the first people I thought of.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh.
And one of the reasons why is because I know you well and I know your success and I know how hard you work. And I know your journey. We're both from Philly.
Right.
I'm from Uptown. My family from North Philly. I lived in North Philly a little bit, but you from North Philly, born and raised nowhere else. And if anyone don't know Philly, North Philly is one of the toughest parts of Philadelphia, probably one of the toughest parts in the country. So thank you for accepting.
Of course.
One of the things I always wondered, because we talked a lot, but I never wondered, I never asked. What your upbringing in North Philly? How'd you grow up? What made you, think bigger, think outside of the box in North Philly?
I grew up in North Philly. I grew up in a single parent household. It was just me and my mom. I was the only child, her only child. My father's also from North Philly. I'm really close with his side of the family, so I split my time between both sides of the family. We live in different areas in North Philly.
Right.
So I had that whole experience growing up. I went to Catholic school growing up, and then I went to private school for a little while.
What kind of school you went to?
It's called Jesu. It was a school in North Philly called Jesu.
I never heard it.
It was a Catholic school. All the neighborhood kids kind of went there.
Okay.
Their parents could afford it. That was like a little step above public school.
They must have a basketball team? No?
They had a basketball team. It's actually connected to St. Joe's Prep.
Okay, I know St. Joe's Prep. Okay,
right, so it's like the it's like they're like a sister school to us. So It's like the boys that graduated Jesu, some of them were given scholarships and they will often go to the prep after that. So, but it was co-ed.
Gotcha.
So a lot of us I went to Jesu, and then after Jesu, I went to Friends Central for a little while. And then
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went to Friends Central.
Friends Central. I got my homie Kyrie. Shout out to my man Kai. He went to Friends Central. And my man Q, Karan. Shout out to my man Karan. He went to Friends Central as well.
I went to Friends Central for 5 minutes, and then most of my friends went to Central or Ben Franklin, being from North Philly. So I ended up going to Central later on, like in my freshman year, because that's where a lot of my friends and a lot of the kids that went from Jesu went to Central.
Nice.
I went to Central. I always had a mom that exposed me to a lot of different things. So even though we lived in the hood, I went to good schools, or the best schools that she knew at the time to send me to.
Right.
And then we traveled a lot. So we always took vacations. We always took trips. She always did things with us. And she was a school teacher, so she was big on education. So I was exposed to a lot of things that made me see more.
Do you think that type of exposure helps you maneuver through all the distractions that the inner city have?
I think that when you grow up in the inner city, it's not a distraction, it's just your reality.
Right.
So I feel like once I got grown and got out, like, and stepped out of the neighborhood, or maybe like later on in my teenage years or early 20s, then I started realizing, oh, this is not right, or this was really dangerous, or, but to me, it was just kids having fun. And then certain things that happened it was just like, this was what happened in our life. So you don't think that anybody lives other than what you're living.
Right. No, I agree with that. I think my first most of my friends, we grew up without fathers. And up until maybe I was actually 20 something, I was in school, and I had a friend on my team. We went to go visit his dad before going to a away game. And him and his dad was bonding. They was talking about girls. They was talking about sports. You know, they even cracked the beer open together. And I was like, damn, this is what it's like.
Right.
like this is what we missing out on. So yeah, I totally agree with you. You don't look at it as a distraction. You look at it as like the norm.
The norm.
Right. So did any of those now? You traveled a lot, and you went from Philly, right? Did you? And you live in LA now. Did
Right.
you live anywhere before that?
I spent a lot of time in New York, but I didn't actually live anywhere until I moved to LA.
Right. So what made you move to LA?
I was working at the time. I was working at as a wardrobe stylist, so I started taking like wardrobe jobs at 19, right when I was still in college, and then I was doing a lot of jobs, and there was a lot opening up in LA, so they weren't having stylists over here, so they would fly us back and forth. So I was like, you know what? It's probably a good idea to go to LA because there's a market there for our type of style. Because most videos at the time, they were dressed like we're dressed. They was cool, so they needed an East Coast. They needed that East Coast like flavor. But then also I had experienced, because of living where I lived at, so many of my childhood friends were dying.
Gotcha.
So like murder was prevalent. So maybe I'm gonna say like maybe 4 of the closest people to me,
Right.
period, were murdered within maybe like a 2-year period.
Wow.
So now I know. I didn't know before, but now I know it was like PTSD and like trauma. And when I would come to LA just to work, I would sit on the beach and it would make me feel better. And I never had that experience. Or we would be eating lunch outside. It was almost like carefree.
Right.
When your phone rang, you didn't jump. You didn't know
Yeah.
what was not going to happen because, like I said, that dysfunction becomes your norm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think as women, a lot of times when we grow up in situations like that, people don't really help us.
Yeah.
It's like, even with guys, like if you're looking at guys that's rappers or guys that's entertainers or athletes, they talk about their story and their embrace. Like, I lost my brother or I lost this, but think about how many girls in the hood lose their brothers.
Right. You know what? That's very true. Because I never really think. I never think about that.
Yeah,
I think because as a man, because I have a best friend who was murdered as well, and you don't. And the one who broke the news to me was his girlfriend.
Right.
But I checked on her a few times. I was more concerned with his mom.
Right.
I think. I don't know. I don't know why we don't check on women though.
Right.
In them cases.
It's like we're the same, but we have to like always act like we're okay, and we got to make sure everybody else is okay, but we're not okay. You know what I mean? But nothing has, even when we look at when you look at your your stories or your movies and stuff, everything's always told from the guy's standpoint.
Right. Especially in those situations.
Yeah, you never, because it's
How did you handle like stuff like that?
I didn't. So then, but I felt peace when I was here.
Right.
So I thought I was just gonna move here for like a year. It was like a blizzard in Philly when I moved, and it was like, and I think they canceled my flight, and they canceled my flight going back from LA, and I just looked around. I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just probably find a little place to stay here for like 6 months, so I could come back and forth and just like chill out when I'm not working, and I never left.
So we're going back. You got into a wardrobe stylist, right? Did you get into that in Philly?
I did. I went to Moore College of Art.
Okay.
On the Parkway for fashion design.
Okay, yeah, because I never really hear about it in Philly. Is that big in Philly?
I don't know. It was just something that I always was interested in.
Okay.
And I mean, like an only child, I think my mom bought me everything to try to keep me busy. So I wanted to play the drums, and I probably wanted to play the piano. Then I wanted to do this. I was in every kind of dance class, but I got bored with everything really fast. It was a lady across the street from me, and she used to make all her clothes, which I thought was fascinating. Because I was always smaller than the rest of the kids. Like, I was a teeny little kid. Like, I didn't grow for a long time, and I wanted to wear things that my friends wore, and it just didn't come in my size.
Right.
So she would make stuff for me. My mom had a tailor, Alex. He would customize stuff for me. But I just started lingering around to see, okay, I could probably do this myself, or I can go and get my own fabric. So I knew that was something that I wanted to get into. So then I went to school for fashion design. Then I decided I didn't really want to be a stylist. After we did our intern
You went to
training
school in Philly for fashion design.
in Philly for fashion design. I actually wanted to go to New York.
Right.
But then they were trying not to get me to move away. You know, our family was super close, so it just was like, stay here or whatever. So I stayed in Philly. I went to more. And then during the time, we had different speakers come in, and the lady came in, and she was a costume designer for films. And then I started seeing the world of styling behind the scenes for like magazine shoots and things like that. And I knew that that was more of my calling.
Right. So that what you started out with when you got out to LA?
When I got out to LA, I think it was on like when I got out to LA, I wanted to do the movies and stuff. And then it was in LA. So it wasn't really a big market for it in New York.
Right.
So they were telling me, oh, if you want to do that, you should move to LA. And then because I was young and black, I believe they threw me into music videos. And I
So
started
that
working
was your first start.
So my first start was music videos.
So that's 6 months you extended your trip.
I was already doing music videos and getting flew out to LA to do them.
Okay. What was one of your first music videos?
I think it was maybe like a Fabulous video.
Word? Which one?
I can't deny it.
Yeah.
I think I was an assistant on that one.
Okay, that's.
And then I worked with this guy Groove, and he was Biggie Stylist. I would never work with Biggie directly, but he had a lot of people, and every time he had a runoff, he would give me a lot of his clients.
Gotcha.
And I worked with an agency called like the B-Lin Group. So it was a few of us stylists that was young at the time, and we all worked for that particular agency, and we were the go-to girls.
Gotcha.
And guys to come to for styling.
So you was working the videos, but you want to transition into magazines, right?
I wanted to transition into movies.
Movies, okay. And did you ever get an opportunity?
Yeah, I was working on the Eve show.
Okay.
When that came out, and I was doing wardrobe on that show, and then we were on hiatus. And Eve's former stylist actually called me for a job that she couldn't do, but it was a movie, and she said she didn't know who it was. Like, the agency called her, but they didn't give her any information. They just told her it was an A-list celebrity or whatever, and she wanted to know if I can take the meeting on her behalf.
Right.
Because she was booked up. She's like, I'm booked. You can maybe take the meeting and see what it's about. If you wanted, you could just have it. So when I went, it was Martin Lawrence for Big Mama's house.
That's crazy.
And I did the interviews.
Is that one of them right place at the right time type of thing?
Definitely right place, right time, because actually they had already hired somebody. So by the time I responded and got to them, they had hired a person. And they were like, but you could still do the interview.
Right.
And I'm like, why would I do the interview if y'all hired somebody?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. This is not meant to be. It's cool. They was like, no, we really want to interview you. They looked at like my book. At the time we had like books of our work, and they were like, no, we want to see what it is. So then I did the interview, and I believe he was watching from another room or whatever. And then afterwards,
Martin.
yeah, but he wasn't in the room that we were interviewing in. And then afterwards, they were like, we really like you, and we want to offer you the job. And I'm like, I thought y'all had somebody. They was like, no, we want to give it to you. And I wanted to know when the movie started. So the date when the movie started, it was my cousin's wedding, her weekend, that she was getting married, and I was the matron of honor.
Decisions.
Right? I was the matron of honor, so I'm like, she's like my sister. We're like sisters, but we're cousins. So I was like, okay, nah, I can't do it.
What?
I was like, I can't do it.
You chose family?
I chose family
over
opportunity, over the bag.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to always choose family over the bag.
As you should.
Family over the bag. Family going to always come first. So I was like, well, I can't do it. And they were like, his sister at the time, I remember, she was like, we'll wing it for you. Like, we'll start it off the first week and lay it out for you. And then you come in as soon as you're finished, you come in and we'll hold the spot for you.
But talk about that a little bit.
So that's when I was like, oh, this must be a line. And I took it.
Talk about that a little bit, though, like, because that's a big decision to make. Most people would be like, look, especially if you've been grinding and you've been wanting this opportunity, you've been wanting to transition into that world, and then now you had that opportunity. It's hard to just say, okay, I get it. I want to do this, but family come first. What thought process did you have during that time?
I think that I've learned at an early age, and it could be from growing up, how we grow up, right? I learned to trust my gut. So if it don't feel right, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And it could be any reason. And not like it felt like an amazing opportunity, but like that one glitch let me know I would be disappointed in the person that was probably closest to me in my life.
Right.
How am I do that for some money?
Right, right.
So in all situations, and then I noticed like even when if I do something like I get to the point where some jobs I really don't want to work. I may have worked with the person before, don't like their energy, feel like they're not cool. But for money, you'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna take the job. I'll take the job. 3 days before the job, I'll get a better opportunity and I'm already committed to something I don't want to
Right.
do.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
no,
It's
I totally
like,
understand that.
why did I do this anyway? I knew that I should have
Yeah, I think
stayed the course or
yeah, when
whatever.
you do come up from that inner city, you do got to trust your gut. You got to know when to leave places. You got to understand like when the energy's off, when something's about to happen. So no, that's a good reference.
Yeah, your spidey senses start tingling. You like, this ain't for me, and I just it's gonna always happen. And then I know that things work out the way that it works out,
Right.
and it works out for the best. And the worst thing to do, I don't care if I'm down to my last, I'm not gonna be rushed.
Right. Can't rush your
You
process.
can't rush your process. And I feel like even with that, you see people a lot of times that do die or do different things. Like things happen to them because they trusted the wrong person because they were just trying to make a move to get a bag real fast, to get pay rent, to do this, to do that.
Yep.
And it don't ever. I've never seen it work out.
Me and you
I've
both.
never seen it work out.
I've never seen people who like put the money first before all morals and responsibility, and it works out. It might work out. It might just put a little Band-Aid over a gunshot wound, but we all know how
Or
that
it
one
might
works.
work out, right? Say it work out, but then you 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 torment it. Like it work out on one end, but on the other end, you lose people, you lose your integrity, you
Right.
lose your morals, and now everybody fake mentally ill and you're depressed
Right.
and all of that stuff. You ain't really, and I know, and not to make light of it, because I know people have anxiety and depression, and it's a real thing. But a lot of it be karma. A lot of it is karmic based. You know what I mean? Like you paranoid because you know you're not right.
Right. No, 100%. No,
You depressed because you know you did a bunch of people dirty. That
absolutely.
money don't mean nothing
Because
when
the
you.
hardest thing is to live with yourself afterwards. I know anytime I ever
Yeah.
made a decision, I never made a decision to compromise my moral integrity, least that I could think of off the top of the head. But
Right.
if I went against my character or I acted out of character, the hardest thing to do is forgive myself for how I acted.
We are harder on ourselves than anybody could ever be on
Oh,
us.
absolutely.
And I just think that's just how our brain works.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna always be harder on ourselves.
And you say we as in
Human
human
beings.
beings, yeah.
I just think it's like when people have negative thoughts, I don't know how many negative thoughts you have per positive thought, but I know positive thoughts outweigh them, and that's why affirmations and things like that are important. But I definitely know that we will beat up on ourselves as humans
Right.
more than anybody could beat up on us.
No,
So we
100%.
got to be kind to ourselves, and it's easy to do when you live in when you live in like right.
Right.
Period.
No, and also too, going back to your theory on anxiety and depression, I think what ties into that is rushing your process. I
Yeah.
think we get to a place where we just want everything right now,
Right.
and you're trying to figure out why you don't have it right now, and that's depressing you. But there's no rush. What are you rushing for? It's going to be
And
there.
then you want everything right now for what?
Right.
For social media likes?
Exactly.
You want everything right now
Exactly.
for what? Like, you're not going to enjoy it.
Because I think the best thing about it from all my trials and tribulations is the journey.
Yeah.
Once you get the thing you want, that car you want, that watch you want, or whatever the case may be, it's just there. Now, at some point, it's just going to become a bill. It's really just a bill at the end of the day.
It's a bill. It's
You
a
know
bill.
what I mean? So, but I think the best thing about it is the journey and who you had to become
Right.
to get to where you are today.
And when you get what you want something else.
Right.
It's like,
Your appetite always grows.
you like it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I got this new watch.
Now you want
Love
the
it,
bracelet.
love it. Now, you're like, you know what? I'm going to be real happy if I had
It never stops.
that bracelet. I'm going to be real happy if I had another watch just like this with a different bezel. Like, it don't ever stop.
Never stops.
And not that it should ever stop. You should always try to level up,
Absolutely.
level up, want more. But you got to start realizing that this is not the things that's going to make you like completely happy. It's a lot of rich, depressed people. It's a lot of people that have a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Like even when we look at places like, say, the fires that just happened in Maui, we have fires every year in this town.
Yep.
I mean, stuff come and go.
Come and go.
Like, so what you got without the stuff?
So you had the opportunity on the Martin show. They gave Came back.
It was a movie.
It was a movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You had the opportunity on the Martin movie, Big Mama's.
I think it was Big Mama's 2 or
Big
3
Mama's?
or whatever. I did Big Mama's.
Now, did it just take off from there, or did you have some like dry spots where you wasn't getting any jobs at that level, or you was fighting to get jobs?
It's always a fight.
Uh-huh.
It's always a fight. You own, like I think Biggie said, you're only as good as your last project.
Right.
It's gonna always be a grind.
Right.
It's always people coming behind you. It's always people parallel to you.
Mm-hmm.
So people, it's always gonna be a fight.
Right.
It's just that's just the way
Because
it is.
I don't know too much about the stylist world as
Mm-hmm.
far as, you know, how it works or how you get the opportunities. But as an outsider looking in, I can only imagine it's kind of hard because who's to say people like your style? Like, does it work? Like people have
See,
their own.
That's another thing. When you doing, it depends. If you're dressing people, depending on what you're dressing them for, it depends on if it's so much of your style infused in it.
Right.
But like when you're doing movies, a lot of times you read the script and you're interpreting the writer's style.
Gotcha.
You get what I'm saying? So they pretty much, you know, if it's a cheerleading, if you know you're a coach, if it's a basketball situation or whatever, then you're in uniforms.
Right. True.
We
true.
can't make the uniforms but so fly.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
You get what I'm saying? Like we doing it like some things are standard. We're just interpreting the vision. Like that's the difference I think when you do like TV and film, because it's like you're dressing people to be everyday people. You do get your Sex and the City type movies where certain designers can really like show off, but for the most part, you put your flair on it. It's more I think if you're likable. And if you a good person to deal with, people work with who they like.
Yeah, that's another question I was going to ask. Like, how do you keep getting jobs? Like, is it
Word of mouth.
word of mouth? And
It's word of
it's
mouth.
part of that attitude, obviously.
It's word of mouth and your agent. If you have an agent, they can probably pitch you for certain things. But I think like anything in this world, people gonna like you.
Right.
They gonna hire you for you. Mm-hmm. No matter what goes on. Like that's why so many brands are big. They're not big because of the brand. Especially in our community, a lot of them are big because people like the person that's selling it. They've made themselves a brand, and now
Very
people
true.
buy into their lifestyle.
No, that's very true.
So it's like when people hire you for coaching or for whatever they do, they like showing.
Sure they do.
Now, granted, I ain't saying that you're not good at what you
Nah,
do, but
nah,
if you
I
was good
think
at
they
what
like
you do and you constantly cussing out parents, you
Well,
talking
I don't
crazy.
cuss out parents.
You talking crazy to the kids.
That-
Kids coming
yeah,
home
they
crying.
sometimes.
I'm saying they come home crying. He's
Sometimes.
horrible. You beating on the kids. You
Oh,
pushing them
no.
down. They not hiring you. You're a
Hey, I don't think
problem.
of no kids.
People
But
grip
yeah,
up a little kid.
but I know I totally get it. No, that's true though. Your attitude and how you being personable is very important.
You're dependable.
Dependable.
You're
all
good
that.
at what you do,
Absolutely.
and you easier to get along with. Like
Right.
that's
So give me a story where like, you know, let's say you just probably in between jobs because it's like really you work for hire, right? Most times, right? So I'm pretty sure you had some gaps or no? Do you have any like
I have
gaps?
gaps all the time.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah.
longest gap you think you've been?
Maybe like 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
3 months, 90 days. Are you ever thinking? Do you ever have doubt?
Maybe COVID was like big gaps.
Oh yeah, cold was a
COVID
big
set
gap
us
for everybody.
down.
Do you have any? Did you have any doubt during that time?
No.
No. You just always. How do you keep a positive mindset? What is
Um,
your technique? I know a lot of.
you know what? Maybe because I had gaps because I chose gaps
Okay.
by not taking everything that came my way. Not necessarily that the calls weren't coming.
You didn't want to chase the bag. Why not? Why you didn't take everything that?
I think after I got to a certain point, like a certain mark, I realized that I had been around the world
Okay.
probably 2 or 3 times and hadn't seen the world.
Uh,
And then I started realizing that like I'm working for everybody all the time and I don't get to do things for myself. So I started intentionally taking more vacations and, you know, just living a life that was more conducive to me than working. Because at first, I think when I first started off, like I may have had like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and a few days in between off every year, maybe 5 tops. I didn't take time off because I felt like I got to keep going while I'm hot. I got to keep working. And you get burnt out.
right.
Or more importantly, if you're not available, you see that you're kind of easily replaceable and you feel unappreciated. So then it's like, okay, I need to start living my life on my terms and enjoying myself and doing more of the things that I like to do. And how do I know what I like to do outside of work if all I'm doing is working?
Very true.
So I would sit myself down sometimes.
And you never was concerned that somebody might take an opportunity that's yours?
It's not mine.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
It's not mine.
That's how I think we all get into a space where we feel like we gotta work all the time to be some level of success.
And you do. I feel like when you young, I like personally, I hate when I meet young people that's lazy.
True, very true. I think at a certain age, I think in your 20s, you're obligated to work.
Yeah, I feel like when you put in the work and you establish your name, you establish your brand. If you want to take some time off and fall back and enjoy the fruit of your labors, then you should be able to do that. But I don't think that you just like a lot of these kids is lazy to me.
Very true.
And I'm like, y'all are in y'all early 20s. Why you so sleepy?
I don't remember.
Why you not outside? Why y'all not working? Like, I feel like you should put that work in. Why you got that energy? You ain't gonna get this. You won't get your 20s back. Like,
that's very
grind, work, and then if you don't work yourself where you like you depleted completely. But I mean, you shouldn't be lazy. You should go after the bag when you at a certain point in your life and when you got certain goals to check off. But I do think it's important once you get to a certain point to kind of relax to know that that's healthy.
How many years you think you was working before you came to that realization? Like, I need to. I've established my brand. I think people know who I am. I'm a chill.
I've been working since I can remember. I probably started working at like 12.
12?
Yeah, years old. I've been working forever. I've always had a job.
That's one.
I've always had a job.
That's one thing I say. You're very ambitious.
I've always had a job.
I think when you grow up in the inner city, you automatically start working.
Oh my God! I had like water ice stands and selling candy and pretzels and I always was a hustler. I always had some type of work.
You get that from your mom?
Yeah, I get that from my mom.
Shout out to her mom. Her mom's amazing.
Thank God for her. And then I had like a stepfather at the time. He owned a store, and I would work there after school. I just did a lot. I always worked. I worked hard, and I thought that was, and it is. I still like working. I like working. I'm a big advocate of do what you enjoy doing, because then you don't feel like you're working.
So I'm trying to tell them.
So I think when I realized I needed to like start taking breaks and stuff, like let's just say working when you're supposed to work, like from the time you're in college on up to your career, I think maybe about a good 15 years.
15 years? That's good. I mean, but here's the thing though, 15 years may sound long to some people, and I know, one of the reasons why I wanted to do the podcast is because
and that might be like 30-ish.
But
like if we gonna put a number on it, maybe like 30, 35-ish, then I felt like I could fall back.
But the thing about it is like when people hear like numbers like 15, 20 years, they get like, oh no, I don't want to do that, takes too long, or they get discouraged. But you said something that was key. You was doing what you love. Yeah. So you didn't really feel like you was working.
Right.
So the key to everything is first finding what you love to do.
Right.
And then you'll never feel like you're ever working. And then at some point, you start to realize what you realize. Like, hey, I've been traveling the world. I haven't got a chance to see the world myself.
Right.
And you do travel a lot. And I've been on your Instagram. I've known you for years. And I'll call you like, hey, V, I'm about to come up there. No, I'm in Africa. I'm not there. So I wanted to ask you how many places you've been, but I think that's too hard. Because I know you've been a lot of places. So I'm going to ask you, where do you want to go and why? If you haven't been there already, I feel like you've been everywhere.
No, there's places I haven't been.
Really?
I want to go to, I haven't been to the Maldives.
Really? I'm surprised about that.
Yeah, I haven't been to Maldives. I haven't been to Fiji.
You've been to, but I'm surprised about that. I feel like you went there before.
I went to Bali.
Bali, that's where you went.
Thailand and stuff like that. I've never been to Fiji. There's a few places on my bucket list.
Yeah. And your mom started that. Your mom started that world travel figure.
Yeah, we would take vacations.
You went to what's the place I'm thinking of? Dr. Sebi's.
Oh, Honduras.
Honduras. How was that?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I went there on a healing trip. So I went to Dr. Sebi's in Honduras just to like reset and recharge my body. Also, I'm a certified herbalist. So I wanted to see, what they offered in that part of the world. I wanted to see like the healing water that he had, different things like that. But with that being said, I've traveled all around the world studying herbal medicine with a lot of indigenous healers from Panama to Bali to Thailand. Like I've been so many places and studied under so many great teachers around the world. It's amazing, but that was one of the places.
Did that trip inspire your brand, Divinity?
Divinity.
The Divinity. Sorry.
Divinity was birthed before that.
Oh, really?
It was birthed a few years
So what
before, but it
it?
was just teas at first, and it was teas that helped us with what we dealt with in just the entertainment industry. So I had a friend that was in China working on a film, and she came back and she told me, she was like, V, every night they gave us this tea that we drank, and it was like red wine and mellowed you out. And I'm like, well, what kind of tea was that? And then I started doing research and I found what tea it was. So then I've always been, since I can remember, an avid tea drinker. I love teas and I love things and I love natural medicine. I'm really not big on big pharma. Like, I feel like it's a natural remedy for everything.
Yeah.
So I started, so I was like, we deal with a lot of things in the entertainment industry. So I started Divinity as just like offering teas for the things we deal with. It was hangover, shrink, which was weight loss, energy, vocal, because at the time I worked with a lot of musicians. I knew that throat coat tea had such a licorice taste to it. So like anybody that project your voice, I felt that was good. My mom was a school teacher, like, and a professor. Anybody that project your voice, I felt like throat coat would help. And what I have, energy, harmony, which was like calm. So I started with those teas, and then after I started traveling with holistic, like learning how to make holistic medicine out of certain teas and different processes to make tinctures and stuff, I started just bottling up and giving them to my friends.
I'm one of her friends, by the way.
Yeah, so when everybody would get sick, I became the person that everybody calls, like, whether I'm on set or I'm home, like, hey, this is going on. What do I need to take? And I'm like, oh, just come get it. So every time somebody had an ailment, I would make something and I would make a big batch of it in case somebody else needed it. And it just grew and grew and grew and grew.
And this is a fact, because 2 years ago, I had COVID, and I called her, and which you dropped off to me? I forget what you dropped off for the COVID. Was it the rest? It was immune.
It was
something.
immunity, yeah. So
Immunity.
I think I get, for like most of my friends that had COVID, I have like a bundle called the Knockout Bundle.
Yeah.
And I was sending that to them. So it was a viral tincture. It was one called Anti-Plague that's just good for overall good health. Deep lungs, because people were having issues with their lungs, and Echinacea Plus.
And one day I was
And I
good.
mean, it was. I mean, I
That
can
was
say it was.
one
It
day
was.
I was good.
My people was good in 48 hours
I was good after like one day.
throughout the whole process.
So what you think is the best seller for your brand?
I have a bowel pocket capsule, and that gets old things out of your colon, because most illnesses start in your colon, and most people don't have regular bowel movements. You should have probably at least 2 bowel movements a day. People will go a week without having 2 bowel movements, and it's ridiculous. And that's where that's where everything pretty much starts.
Right.
Is in the colon tract. So it gets the old stuff out and it gets some new stuff out. But bowel pocket is, I take bowel pocket every day. I live by it. Anti-plague. Anti-plague is just something that keeps you overall, like, just keep you cold free. Like, so if I'm outside and somebody's coughing, I'm like, here, I have something. I'm at a table. I'm like, here, don't get everybody sick. Like,
you good for
that's
that.
I'm good for whipping out a tincture and putting it in somebody's juice or water really fast.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought I just had like a high metabolism. But then I remember dating this girl, and she was like, yeah, haven't been to the bathroom in 2 days. I'm like, is that normal?
It's very normal. It's normal in our society. It's
Really?
not healthy because they're not eating fiber. They're not eating a proper diet, and they're not going to the bathroom. That's also a big thing. But like, when you're not going to the bathroom, that causes like depression and stuff like that too. People don't realize, because everything's not flowing.
Really? Elaborate a little bit
Everything's thick.
on that, as far as how did that intertwine?
Okay, so basically, everyone's colon is inside of their body. It's about 5 feet long if they were to unravel it.
Right.
So every time you eat something or you drink something, your body's supposed to take what it needs for the cells, and then it's supposed to flush the rest out of your system. If you're not going, all right, think of a dog.
Right.
If you have a dog, right? You have a dog.
I have a dog. Shout out Poppy.
Shout out Poppy. Spoiled ass Poppy. So listen, if you feed Poppy, what you do a half an hour after you feed him within?
What I do?
You usually take him out to walk him, right?
Maybe not a half an hour, but I know I gotta walk him.
You gotta walk him because he gotta go, right?
Yeah, I know.
But just like,
I would never feed my dog and then go, too long without walking.
right, because he has to go to the bathroom.
Absolutely.
So, and that's how the human body's supposed to work.
Right. Absolutely.
But now we have so many processed foods, and there's so many chemicals in our foods, that people are not eating fresh fruits and vegetables. Because even during COVID, people were saying, oh, it's a shortage of food. It was not a shortage of fruits and vegetables. If you shop the perimeter of the supermarket, it was fully stocked with fruits and vegetables.
Tissue.
People was buying tissue. People was buying packaged noodles and canned goods. If you have a can of something and the shelf life is 10 years, it's safe to say there's no nutritional value in that.
Very true. Absolutely.
We work hard, right? People have kids. You got your kids going to fancy private schools. You got your kids in fancy clothes. You got a fancy car. You got a trash body. You giving them little kids 10-cent noodles every day.
Yeah. I don't know. I
And
always
then
said
packaged
too.
nuggets and fries. Like, it's all processed food.
All processed.
So they start as babies not going to the bathroom. Good. And then by the time they get grown, their digestive tracts are screwed. That's why people are getting sick. Like, it's so much food in the market that our grandparents wouldn't recognize as food.
Yeah, like name some like foods that's common now.
Anything in the middle of the market, just those different types of cookies and pies and cakes and different types of canned goods, stuff that we've never heard of. Like, who knows what this stuff is?
Right.
Well, we know it's not food.
Yeah. It's definitely not food. I mean, 'cause I always say this. I was talking to a friend and we were talking about like burgers at like McDonald's and shit. I haven't eaten McDonald's in over, I don't know, 10 years. 15.
You ever see the studies? First of all, there's so many studies on like social media, like YouTube and stuff. They'll pour like acid over those burgers and they will keep their shape. Then if people like, say if you have McDonald's fries and you forget them, or you're in your car eating and some fall in the back or something, you can find them fries a year later and they have the same shape. They have not disintegrated. Then if you read the label on the back, it's like 30 ingredients
For French fries.
for French fries. It may not be 30, but it's a lot.
Right.
French fries are supposed to be potatoes, salt, and oil.
Right. Absolutely.
When you have a laundry list of
I
ingredients,
mean,
it's like,
but it's right there in
on.
front of you though. Like a burger for $1. Like you can't even go
No,
to
that's what
the
I'm saying.
market and get the condiments for the burger
For $1. You know what? And I think that that's what our country has done, and maybe Europe too, is that they made food so cheap. Because even when I travel to indigenous countries, a large portion of their income goes to food. When I tell people now, I have people that I talk to that got all kinds of diseases, terminally ill, and I tell them certain things. They're like, "Oh, well, do you know that juice cost me $8?" I told a friend, "You got a $200,000 car and live in a $2 million house, and you talking to me about an $8 juice?"
Yeah, that's why.
But it's the mentally, because we're used to food being cheap.
Right, and we want food to be cheap.
We want food to be cheap. Why is food supposed to be cheap?
I had this talk with a friend.
We got fancy everything. Why not have a fancy body?
And we actually strive for fancy
We
stuff.
strive for fancy stuff, but we get one body. We don't get a do-over. We don't get another one. We don't get a temporary body. We got one body. We got one set of teeth. Once you're adult, we got one head of hair. We got one layer of skin.
You're gonna have a bunch of clothes.
Why would you not? You got a bunch of shoes and clothes to put on your skin, on your body.
Run through cars.
That's going to disintegrate.
Absolutely.
Like, you going to have how many houses in a lifetime? How many cars in a lifetime?
Right.
You get one body. And you don't think to treat that right?
Yeah, I had a friend who was, because I go to Whole Foods. I used to go to Whole Foods a lot for lunch. He's like, "Man, why you go to Whole Foods? Why not go to Ralph's? Ralph's is a lot cheaper." And I'm like, "Bro, it's like $1. Like, some of the stuff you're going to get at Ralph's in Whole Foods, like a $2 difference,
Right.
a $3 difference. It's not going to make that much of a difference in the bill." And then also too, like you said, it's your body. I mean, we live in a world where there's tons of information, and like food is the source of your energy. Food is the source of some source of your happiness and your thought process. Because I notice, like, when I eat like food, like a quick food like Chipotle, I'm automatically tired. Automatically tired. But when I went to Europe and I had like steaks and whatever, I don't feel tired.
Right.
In fact, I feel hungry like 3 hours later.
Right.
Because they're so clean.
Right.
There's no hormones injected. There's no, like, I encourage everyone to travel and eat other countries' food and see how much.
That was a big thing, because I travel a lot, and every time I would travel and I would come back, I would get sick. And it would be because when I was abroad, the food didn't have like GMOs, and they didn't have a bunch of pesticides, and they was basically, a lot of things are farm to table. And then when I came here, it's like I would get sick again because now my body's reintroduced to like the toxins and the trash food.
Right.
So
And it's not normal food because you can tell like it by like by body types, right?
right.
So if someone's like a skinny frame or a slender frame, but they have a stomach, the sugar's not breaking down. They have the wrong sugar in their body, so the sugar's not properly being broken down. So that's why they had that gut.
What's fecal matter?
Yeah.
Because they ain't going to the bathroom.
True. Very true.
A lot of them is full of shit. Literally. Literally.
Literally, right. So you also for your diet, I know you're a vegan, right?
Right.
When did you start your vegan diet and why?
Maybe
Well,
five.
obviously I know why now, but when did you start?
Maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It actually happened when I was in Honduras. When I was in Honduras, because I had been pescatarian forever, right? For at least probably 10 years.
I did the pescatarian diet inspired by you.
Yeah.
Well, I did it for about 18 months.
Yeah, so every so often I would have like turkey bacon or something like that, but for the most part, straight pescatarian. Had no problems being pescatarian. Favorite food in the world has always been crab cakes. Like,
Absolutely.
love a lobster. Like, never did I not want to be pescatarian.
Right.
They had this, it was a cleanse there, and it was a duck flour cleanse. And I took the duck flour, and it was supposed to rid your body of a lot of mucus and inflammation. So it's a violent detox. And I figured, I'm healthy. I'm going to do it. So me and 3 people went. Kia was one of our friends. We have a mutual friend. We went. And I did the cleanse. And I didn't know how long it was going to last. They say it'll last between like maybe 5 and 12 hours, depending on how
Duck
toxic.
flour?
It's a flour you eat. It looks like a calla lily almost.
Could you get it in the stores?
You can't get it in the States. It only grows there. I mean, I see people online selling them, but they're not.
The same.
It's not the same, like, because they pick it fresh, and I think you're supposed to consume it within like 48 hours or 72 hours of it being picked. The things they sell online, it's definitely not what I took, because people would say, oh, I was sick. Like, no, I thought I was going to die. So it was just like inflammation. My whole body was on fire. I was vomiting for about 5 hours straight, and but after a while,
Talk about
it's no contents in your stomach left, so it's just like mucus coming up. And at some point, mine started coming up like a lime green color. I didn't know what it was. So when I checked with the nurses afterwards, it was because it was mercury.
From the pescatarian
Yeah.
diet.
So after that, on my way home, people were drinking on a plane. It was making me nauseous. Anytime I smelled alcohol, it made me nauseous. So it was worse when I returned back to the States. I couldn't eat anything. Anytime I saw any type of, well, I guess you know how even when you have food poisoning as a kid,
Right.
whatever you ate, you could have been sick that day or may not have had food poisoning, but you're off of that food. Like once it makes you sick, you like, I'm not eating that no more. It may take you a year or 2
I
or
never had
even
food
longer.
poisoning, though. I never had it.
Yeah.
I got a good body. My
got-
body loves me. I always
Okay.
say I'm God's favorite. Yeah.
All right, you might be, but it's a bad feeling. So after that, I couldn't eat seafood. It just made me nauseous every time I thought about it. I couldn't drink alcohol for like 2 years, like
So no crab legs?
nothing. Anytime I saw it, it just was making my stomach contract like I was about to vomit. I just could not eat it. So I was, what I say, a forced vegan.
Okay.
So then once I started with veganism and different things like that, I noticed my vibration so high, my energy so high. It was just like my manifestation. Like everything was just going my way. And I was like, I like it here. So that's how it happened. And I just stayed the course because I felt so good.
Really? Yeah, I flirted with the idea of becoming vegan, but then I just thought about I eat so late. Sometimes it's just hard to find vegan spots late.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't have time to cook.
But see, that's the thing about it is that
You love cooking.
I love cooking.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too is that I had a friend. He's been vegan for like 30 years. I used to assist him as a stylist back in the day, and he's been vegan forever, right? So I would always find stuff, and I would be like, "Yo, bro, look, it's this place in LA. They got burgers, and it's just like McDonald's, but it's vegan. Look at this. They got vegan ribs. Or it was stuff I didn't even eat when I wasn't vegan. I would just be hyped to find all the new vegan-ish stuff. And he was like, "You new wave vegans kill me. You have to embrace the fact that you eat fruits and vegetables and like it." And it clicked, and then it stopped being so hard. So I just started keeping fruits and vegetables in the house. And at night, At night, I'll make something. I'll make a stir fry.
Oh,
At night, I'll make some, potato. I'll make a sweet potato or like a potato with broccoli and some vegan cheese. Or like I just started eating fruits and vegetables and embracing the fact that I ate fruits and vegetables, and it took away all the guesswork of me trying to make something taste like something.
you might have sparked a new cleanse for me.
Yeah, because it's like once you embrace what you're doing.
Yeah. I always tell people I'm on a common sense diet. I don't eat too much bad food. I eat more good food than I eat bad food.
That's good.
Yeah, I try not to eat too much meat. I try not to eat too much junk food, but I still eat it. I don't drink too much soda, but I might drink it. You know.
Yeah, I think that works. I think that works too, and I'm not.
And I exercise a lot too, though.
Yeah, I'm also not like trying to turn everybody vegan. I show people what I do in my lifestyle a lot of times in case they're interested in so that they can at least like incorporate it into their diet because I tell people always start with meatless Mondays. Just try to introduce yourself to more
Meatless Mondays. I think I think that's good.
like just try to like introduce more of the good stuff. Like you say, like or do the 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the time you're doing good, 20%
Common sense diet.
common sense diet. Because it's like you can't do all bad.
Right.
And then expect optimum health.
No, that's 100% true.
That's craziness. That's ludicrous.
No, I totally agree with that. I know with me, with dieting, and also too with dieting, it shows a level of discipline. And when you got discipline, it shows another level of self-love.
And then I always say that too. Like it's not a vegan like diet. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
So it depends on what your lifestyle is gonna be. Like your lifestyle can be that you eat a minimal amount of meat. Your lifestyle can be that you eat certain types of seafood, or that you make sure that everything you eat is sourced or organic or wild caught or whatever it is that your thing is. Make it your thing and stick with it, but make it a lifestyle and not just like a fad. Because once you finish dieting, and people go back and they overindulge in what they were doing before,
Right.
and that makes no sense. It's like reinfecting yourself.
And one thing I will vouch for you on is that you don't force it on anyone. Because I've come to plenty Thanksgiving dinners with that you host or hosted, I should say, and you'll have this. You'll have the salmon. You'll have I don't think you don't cook too much meat, but you will cook the salmon and everything else. But you'll also have, hey guys, check this out. It tastes just like chicken. And you know what? I've never been let down.
Right.
Like that's why I say I'll flirt with the idea of trying to vegan or converting over to the vegan lifestyle.
It's funny because I wish even putting a label of vegan like kind of irritates people or scare them, but it's almost like I read this book a long time ago. It's called Eat Like Eden, and it's like eat like they ate and eat, and it was basically like fish, fruits, and vegetables. And if you eat how God told us to eat,
Right.
which was fruits and vegetables, then we're fine.
Definitely fine.
You eating
But see,
all of this
we've been so
foolishness.
corrupted with the foolishness, eating from the commercials and fat and real quick. Got to get something quick or
Yeah, you
making
gotta
something
get
quick.
and I think I got sensitive as I got older too. I think about the animals. I think about how they killed. I'm a big advocate that I do think a lot of depression and anxiety comes from you ingesting a whole bunch of animals. If you got an assembly line full of cows and they know they're about to be slaughtered, they have feelings. The next one coming up, he's looking like, oh shit, I'm next. He's filled.
So you saying that?
He's filled with fear. You eat that meat, so that like when we're scared, we release certain chemicals into our body. They're releasing that into that meat that you eating.
That makes a lot of sense though.
So now you worrying about why you feel a certain way. If these are wild animals and they killing other animals and they have that energy, you wonder why it's so
Because
much murder and stuff, and people are so angry. You eating that?
Because that's the thing though. Like people
energy.
actually eat like certain animals at a raw level or not cooked with because they want to have some of the animal instincts or energy.
Yeah, you get more than you bargained for.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't think I thought that deep into it, but I think you onto something.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like even my personality and my attitude, even though I didn't consume it like that before, but I still notice the difference in me. I know that I'm less hot-headed. I know that I'm more understanding. I know that I'm more compassionate. I know that I'm clearer.
That's
So
cool.
things that would have me jump or react faster, I react I react better. And I'm reacting from a clearer place, you know? And I
Yeah.
just think that becomes because I'm putting, like, for the last 30 days, I've been on a raw vegan diet. So I've been eating things that don't have heat to it. So then that's even
You
giving your body,
advance. You
I know,
advance.
that's even
You
giving
next
your
level
body
with yours.
another next level because then it's like you eating all living foods.
Okay.
So even when people are sick, if you're sick and your cells and stuff is dying, you have to give it life. You cannot consume death and expect life. You gotta give yourself. So I even with that, I feel like without any makeup on, I can go outside all day, every day. Skin is popping, like energy levels. Sometimes I have too much energy, and I'm like, I don't want to work out. What I'm gonna do with all this energy?
Right.
But I feel like I am just moving and shaking and in my flow when I do stuff like that. And it doesn't happen often, but sometimes I'll find myself getting tired or find certain things or just certain things I need to work out in life. And I think, okay, you know what? I need to cut cook food out.
You know what?
Even if it's just for a week, I just need to cook food out.
Now I'm gonna go on a cleanse for 30 days, no meat. But listen, I'm still.
Shit.
I'm still eat fish and crab legs for I can't just detox all the way.
Okay.
I believe in baby steps.
I believe in baby steps too.
So I'm gonna go a month without meat, and I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna vlog about it.
Okay. And take a picture of your skin before
Okay.
and after and just and like document your energy level and different things like that.
That's what we're gonna do.
And do make sure also like you incorporate as many salads and shakes as you can, like if you can, like green smoothies and stuff like that. Because
I just got into salads. I used to hate salads. It's just bland, plain. I don't care how much dressing you put on it. But the last 3 days I've been eating salads.
yeah, put what you want in salads too. Or put like you can put like beans in salads. You can put like
I don't like
chickpeas.
beans.
You don't like lentils. You don't like rice.
I like rice.
You
I
can
like
do rice, like you can do the salad bowls and put like rice at the bottom and then the
Okay.
salad at the top and the dressing.
All right. No, I'm gonna do that. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna document
You
it.
hear this?
I'm a no meat for 30 days, starting today.
Today, no, start Sunday or
Sunday.
Monday.
You know.
So you can go
matter of
shopping
fact,
and get.
I take that back.
So you can go shopping and get
I'm
stuff
gonna
in your home.
start September 1st, and the reason why I'm going to Houston. I gotta try Houston food out. They got some meat out there, so.
No, I said no. Seriously, be intentional.
No, yeah, I'm gonna start day one vegetables, no meat. I'm gonna still eat my seafood, and I'm gonna document it. We're gonna document it. We're gonna say day one. I'm gonna take a picture of my skin, and probably once a week. We're gonna say, look, this is how I feel today. And
look at our Crossroads days. We have fun when we go.
No, I love for those who don't know, Crossroads is a restaurant, a vegan restaurant here in LA, and she introduced me to it. One of the meals she introduced me to is a Philly cheesesteak for obvious reasons, but it was a vegan Philly cheesesteak, and
it's good.
it was amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
It was amazing. I've since been without you. Sorry. But yeah, I've been without you a plethora of times.
Because it's good. It's not like
no,
that's right.
100%.
Like just like it's
And you
good
really
food.
and it doesn't taste like
Yeah.
it really tastes like the real thing.
And here in LA, we do have a lot of restaurants that are vegan that have good food. Period. It's just good food.
No, I agree with you. I think food is very key to everything we're doing.
It is.
Our mindset, our energy level, and then like you said, it needs to be a lifestyle for people, not just a diet.
It's like so many people really check out because of their diet.
Yeah.
I know, especially in our community, in the Black community, so many people will be like, "Oh, I'm not on medicine. I'm just on high blood pressure pills or diabetes," because they've been on it forever, or their parents and grandparents, and they think it's normal. It's not normal to be on any type of medicine.
Right. 100%.
But people think it's normal, and then so they're used to being sick, and people are used to operating from a sick place. That's not good. That's not good. So it's like, all right, with us, we didn't move from our hometown. Yeah. We done hustled to try to make it or try to, to accomplish our dreams. And now we going to check out because of some damn meat.
Meat, yeah.
Some rancid meat or some, like, no.
And then also the food.
No, I want to live longer. Like, you God's timing is his timing. If you go outside and get hit by a truck, that's, a freak accident, that is certain things you can't control. Right. But if I can control it and prolong my life and my quality of life,
right,
so I can enjoy the fruits of my labor longer, and all it takes is for me not eating some dead animal, I'm cool.
No, yeah, no,
I'm cool.
I'm with you
Especially
on
if you
that.
could get the taste from something else.
I'm totally with you on that. 'Cause I think that's prevalent. Well, very important in our community where we gotta start eating better to
You gotta start
get
eating better.
give
And then we gotta realize too, somebody else gave me a key thing and it made sense. Like, and this is how I was able to trick a lot of y'all with like vegan food and people who eat it and don't realize they not. Is because I feel like as black people, we don't like the taste of meat. Right? So how many times, I can't tell you how many times I've been on dates and if a guy orders a steak, he orders it well done. Like,
I'm medium well.
yeah, medium. Most guys don't like, but they don't eat rare. They don't eat things bloody. So they don't like the gaminess. And in general, we don't like the gaminess in meat. Maybe because we grew up in, near the Nile, originated, places where it was tropical, the Caribbean. We ate fruits and vegetables normally, and that's what we're used to eating in our palate. But what I do know is that black people season the hell out of food,
Definitely.
douse it in sauces,
Definitely.
and they cook it to you can't. That's why they tell us everything tastes like chicken. Everything don't taste like chicken. You just baked it, fried it, blackened it, Cajuned it. You took all of the gaminess and the meatness out of it, and then you doused it with seasoning, doused it with sauces, smothered it in some other kind of sauce, and gave it to us. So if you can find a mushroom, if you can find some artichokes, if you can find another something that's plant-based and do the same thing to it, then all you want is the crunch. All you want is the sauce.
Yeah.
And you good.
No, that's facts.
So
Yeah, I know.
you can do it without feeling like you're missing anything.
Yeah, I think, like you said though, it takes baby steps. I think that's what everything. I think when we want to change our lives or break habits, we automatically think I'm gonna just stop right now.
Yeah.
You gotta, because you're going,
ease yourself in
yeah,
it.
you gotta ease yourself into it, and you gotta take your time with it, because it's easy because you do it like that, it's easy to go back. And then
Any
give yourself
diet.
grace. Yeah, you get
Any diet.
anything.
Yeah, anything. Say if you say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this for 30 days." Day 12, you got a meeting. Everybody got this on the table. You taste a little bit. Don't say, "Oh, I messed up," and then I'm going all the way back. No, I messed up, and I'm gonna start tomorrow.
Right.
Just get back on it. Give yourself grace. Don't be so hard on yourself because it's a marathon. It ain't a sprint.
It's definitely a marathon.
Yeah, you just go through it.
You gotta take your steps.
Take baby steps.
So before we get out of here, I wanted to ask you, going back to the fashion part,
Go ahead.
did you dress anyone who had a iconic style by you? That we can probably reference, that people can be like, wow, I didn't know she did that. That's her.
I'm sure I did a lot of
And I'm
them.
gonna get my guy Ethan to find it.
I did a lot of them. I did a lot of things.
Well, you always on the iconic movie with Big Mama.
Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, I could find those photos.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find.
Yeah, we could do that. I got Big Mamas, Wild Hogs, Welcome Home Roscoe's. I did all those movies with Martin.
Word. That's what's up.
So yeah, it's definitely a lot. It's a lot because I predominantly dress men. So
Well, there you have it.
you have it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
not only doing the podcast, but always being a great friend to me. Anytime I ever needed anything, she always, come through without any excuses. And I hope she feel like it's vice versa.
It is vice versa. My little cancer little brother.
Yes. So I never waver from that. So love you.
Love you
Appreciate you. If anyone wants to find you on social media, how can they get a hold of you?
I'm at vidacolona.com, VIDACOLONA on Instagram, and also divinity.com. That's my herbs, DAVINITEA.
All right.
Well, that's the .com is the website. Divinity is the Instagram.
And as you already know, Biggerthangoalspodcast on Instagram. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share on our page, Bigger Than Goals Podcast on YouTube.